What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian.
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
To all you Blues fans, we're bleeding blue with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues. Let's go Blues.
Blue Note Fan Report post-game show. What a game that was. Now, I apologize that we didn't do the game. I had dental work done today, and by the time the game started, my mouth was still, like, swollen, so I needed to wait. So I told Justin we'd just do a post-game show. And what a game to do a post-game show. Joe Holfer with another shutout, 6 on the season. And here we go. Number 28, Stenberg with his first star of the game. What, I mean, really, really a good, solid game. Snuggerud gets the game winner. Stenberg gets one. Stenberg gets a really important one, and it's probably the one that won the game, even though Snoogies will count as the game winner. And then Kyrou with a great play to make it 3-0 there when it was an empty net. Now, I can't wait to hear all the Kyrou. He should have passed it to Bushevich. Right move, put it in the net. You're the guy, you're the goal scorer, you put him in the net, right? When Ovi retires, that team will be the dirtiest team in the league. Yeah. We will talk about that. 6 shutout. Snoogie is the future. We got a lot of future here. And we saw it with Stenberg, with Lindstein, with Dvorsky, Berggren. Berggren's still pretty young, right? I don't remember his actual age, but I know he's still young. The third overall pick, Fondell, got his NHL debut today and got his first NHL point. Way to go. Bush was probably telling him to take it the whole way. I think he was. I really do. He probably was. The team game has definitely gotten so much better than what we were used to, than what we saw at the beginning of the season. It didn't feel like a team game, but it feels like a team game now. It absolutely, completely, 1,000,000,000% feels like a team game. No, we just came on. I had dental work done today, and my mouth was just too sore for me to try and talk for 3 hours, so we figured we'd do a post game. Let me bring in my co-host, Justin Eagle Eye Scott. Well, I thought I was going to bring him in. You there, Justin? Let me try this again. Let's see here if this works. Oh, there we go. You with me, Justin?
I didn't come in for a reason, but okay. I'll come in when I want to come on. I'll come in.
Okay.
But I'm good now. So, good game, good team game tonight. Joe Holfer gets his 6th shutout of the year. You love to see it. He wasn't overly tested in the second portion of the game. In the first portion, he was great. He had a few good saves there, deflections, one right on the doorstep save. So he's playing good hockey. He's up there with one of the tops for goalies right now in the league. So it's good to see.
Yeah, he's second in shutouts with 6. I forget who. I think it's Sigurskin with 7, maybe.
No,
I think that was who was first.
Sorokin, Ilya
Sorokin,
Sorokin on the Islanders.
Yeah.
But you have Hofer up there, and the Islanders, they're fighting for a wild card spot, or they're fighting for a playoff spot. You expect them to get in, but anything's possible. But Joe Hofer, with the year that the Blues have had, where it's been up and down, and they've been really good since the break. They've been really, really good. And this should give people hope that this Blues team is, I think, turning a new leaf. And I know we've said that before with the seasons prior, because they've started off every season pretty slow, and then they pick it up after the break, which this is pretty much on brand for them. But it just feels different. You feel the new guard. You feel the young guys being the force on this team now.
Yeah, I said it earlier. The team game has gotten so much better, and not since the break, but since the trade deadline, right? And you saw it tonight. You saw guys sticking up for each other, and you didn't see that earlier in the season. You didn't see that at all. But you're seeing it now. You're seeing the team sticking up for each other. You're seeing the young guys. I mean, they've got we got to come up with a nickname for this. First round pick. Call it the first round line. They've had Devo, Stenberg, and Lindstein. Well, now I know Lindstein's a defenseman, but they've had them all out at the same time, right? I mean, and it's really good. No, we do not have an update on Thomas yet. Let's just jump right into that. I had, in one of the groups that I'm in, I had a Washington Capitals fan sit there and actually say this to me. That was the weakest match penalty ever. He said that to me. I'm telling you, if situations reversed, I'd been screaming to give Thomas a match penalty if the situation was reversed. You cannot body slam a guy to the ice. That's intent to injure, plain and simple. And I think, we give, especially Justin, gives the refs hell. And rightly so in a lot of cases. But tonight, they did it right. They did it right.
Yeah, I mean, they got it right. I mean, I go back to earlier in the game, though, that Capitals fans, they want to claim, oh, that's weak. What about the slash or the so-called slash that Neighbors threw on Tom Wilson? That was a piss poor. That was so goddamn weak that was a joke that was called. An absolute joke. If anybody wants to...
Joey and Curbs, both. The game, because of that penalty being called, this game escalated, right? You call it like that, and it escalated the game. It really did. People complaining that no one responded to the Thomas thing. I don't think anyone in the ice saw it. Plus, it's a 1-goal game. They responded on the board, which is better sometimes. I think the way that went down, had they responded the way people, quote unquote, want them to, it wouldn't have gone well for the Blues. I think that they could have ended up with the extra penalty, right? The refs called that instantly. This wasn't one of those things where it happened and then, this was straight down. They called it instantly. They were there. I think it was the right move for the team to back off a little bit. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, in a game that you're winning 2-0, there's no reason to go out there and cause issues and get an extra penalty and find yourself down and possibly, Washington breaking the shutout, then, getting in within one. the Blues did not need to respond here. I get the whole precedent of sticking up for your star, but this is kind of a different situation. It's not like the Toronto, Austin Matthews thing. Like Austin Matthews got knee on knee in the middle of the ice, no one around him, and his team didn't respond. This was still a dirty play by PLD, but it was such a like immediate thing. Like as soon as this happens, the referees blow the whistle. Like it's pretty much done. Like I said, I've given them crap this year, and they did call this perfectly well. But again, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So, just because you got this call right doesn't mean that you've made up for all of the other bullshit that you've done this year. It's a great call. It's a great call, and it was the right call. But again, it doesn't make up for the poor officiating that we've seen this year, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing that's happened, and I hope people have realized this, StreamYard, our Facebook has changed to now when you go streaming, they've made it private, so it's very hard to get public. My stuff, luckily, has stayed public. Hopefully, it will continue to stay public. We'll keep doing what we can with Facebook and YouTube, and I'll keep trying to show comments as best I can. Right? So we'll do the best we can there. So amazing the subtraction of Shaw made such a positive change in the Blues play. I don't think that it's as amazing as you think it is. I said this right away. Falk and Shin were of that old defensive mentality, and you're not seeing that anymore. You're seeing a much more offensive game, and when you see a more offensive game, you see a better defensive game, and I don't think people understand that, and we're seeing that a lot. Kelsey said things were chippy enough already. I agree. Our responder is still trying to leave Ottawa. I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, it was still 1-0 at the time. I didn't want to correct you on that. Jason says lots of laugh. Eagle Eye talking about a blind squirrel. Snoogie had another awesome game. Say again?
No. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I like anybody who sits here and says that I'm wrong about that assessment. That we talked about this. That they did do a good job of controlling this game, because we have seen officials not get games under control, and then something like this that we've seen tonight only accelerates. I think they did a good job of neutralizing it to where it didn't get as bad as it could have been. Yeah. And this is the Blues and the Washington Capitals. You only see this team two times a year. That's it. So you wouldn't think that you would have this type of game against the Washington Capitals, but it happens sometimes. And I think the refs did a good job tonight. They did an admirable job. They called that shitty neighbors slash, which that was just horse shit. Anybody who tells me that was actually a good call is delusional. But after that, they really honed in and did an admirable job tonight.
Chris Shockey says there's still time for player safety to screw it up. This is a 5-minute. This is a 5-game suspension, no matter what. I'm sorry. If this isn't a 5-game suspension, I don't know what is. That was an absolute. This wasn't a hockey play. That's the difference. That's the difference. In any other case, you could make a small argument that they were hockey plays. They were they were part of the game. This was not a hockey play in any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form was this a hockey play?
Again, I'm going to agree with this comment. I agree with you. It should be 5 games max, or a minimum. But it's not going to be, because George Peros has shown us numerous times that he doesn't know what he's doing. So we already seen 2. This is the 3rd incident in 2.5 weeks. Austin
Yeah.
Matthews happened about 2.5 weeks ago. Then then the Panthers one, AJ Greer, and then now this one. So he's going to have a third. Peros is going to have a third chance to get something right for himself. Is he going to do it? I'm going to say probably not.
So
I'm going to say probably not.
I'm going to say this, and this is what I was trying to talk about and get at that a little bit. The other two that you talk about, the Austin Matthews and then the Greer one, you could, please listen to the words coming out of my mouth. You could say that those were they were hockey plays. They were part of hockey plays.
No, absolutely not.
Justin, you got to listen to me.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, but no, the Gudis one, sure, maybe, but the Greer one, absolutely not.
Well, the Greer one is a harder one to sit there and call that a hockey play. I agree, but you could arguably say that it was part of the game. That it was, he was making a hit and he made a bad hit. Okay. I get that. This one is different. There's no way you can say that was part of a hockey play in any way, shape, or form. That's the difference. That's why I do think that this gets I'll say now, this gets an in-person hearing. This does not get a phone hearing. This gets an in-person hearing, but I do think that it's not going to be more than 5 games. Dubois is a repeat offender, but I don't know if he's been suspended before. Right? But I don't know if he's been suspended.
I love the optimism. I love your optimism. I love the thought behind it. But I mean, I'm sorry. Gudis is a repeat offender. AJ Greer is a repeat offender. These guys are both repeat offenders, and they got a slap on the wrist. If you think that George Peros is going to magically turn on his, 2 brain cells and rub them together and figure out that this should be 5 games at least, I mean, it's hard for me to sit here and believe that, because the 2 that we saw before were just as bad as this one. They were just as bad. Whether you talk about it being a hockey play or whether or not be, all 3 of them are intent to injure. Every single one of them are intent to injure. So I hope you're right. I really hope you're right about this. But is it fair to question George Peros? Is it fair that I question him and think that he's not going to get this right after these last 2? That's a question.
No, I do think you're right. I do think it's fair. I'm trying to look at this. Now, look, I've even written an article, and this was a few years back, and I'm calling out player safety. The DOP is a dope, is what I called it. Was the name of it, right? So yes, the Department of Player Safety does not have a great track record, and I absolutely agree with that. I'm trying to look at these situations from Department of Player Safety's viewpoint, perspective, right? That's one of the things I'm learning in the groups that I go to, right? Seeing everyone has a perspective. Looking at Department of Player Safety's perspective, right? I could see where some of the stuff that we think is egregious, they think could be considered hockey plays. Could be. And I understand that. Do I agree with it? No, I do not. And I'm saying that right out. Looking at this, though, the difference here, this reminds me of, and this goes back a little bit, the guy that took his stick and hit the guy in the head. We talked about this, and I stopped us because there was another part of that. There was something else attached to that, and I didn't want to get into it. But there's no way that you can look at what happened here and say that was any way part of a hockey play, right? Him taking him and throwing him over his shoulder, body slamming him to the ice to where he was unprotected. That's the difference here. And look, the refs did not call great penalties this game, but they handled this situation. I mean, as soon as it happened, it went up. Now, was there interference on Thomas? Maybe. But did it? And that's the only concern here that I have, is that's why I don't think this will be more than 5 games, because there was a penalty called on Thomas for interference. So heat of the moment comes into it. And I think in a lot of situations that aren't hockey plays, heat of the moment comes into it. It's just how much of heat of the moment is attached. AJ could have rendered the guy paralyzed. And I understand everybody's thought process. Like I just said, I'm trying to see it from both perspectives. That's all I'm trying to do. Trying to look at things. That's why I fight you on the refs so much, because I try and see things from the ref's perspective. Do I always agree with what they call? No, I do not. But I try and see it from their perspective. That's how I look at things.
This right here, and this is going to be crazy with the chaos that we saw in this game. This, outside of the neighbors slash that was weak on Tom Wilson, a veteran.
Yeah,
that was weak. Outside of that, this was, shockingly enough, with the chaos, this was the best officiated game, our Blues game, that we've seen since the break. Best officiated game since the break.
Because you look at the Leonard thing, the Leonard and Steinberg thing. Steinberg does hit him high, right? And then there was another moment where Wilson, was it Neighbors? I think Wilson hit Neighbors, like from Snuggerud. Wilson took a run at Snuggerud.
Yeah, it was Snuggerud. Yeah, but
right?
and look. I'm saying this loosely. This is a loose me saying this, because guy, you have said it on this show. You've given the refs, the benefit of the doubt. And we've talked about this a lot. You have been on this bandwagon. You have been on this wagon with me since the Olympic break, that the officials in these Blues games especially have been god awful. They have been terrible, and they've been very inconsistent, very bad. At least tonight, I'm going to give them some high credit and high praise, because they took 2 teams that don't see each other. They had a bunch of chaos, a bunch of scrappy stuff going on, and they seemed to neutralize it very well, because this could have got ugly. Think about if this was a game with the St. Louis Blues and the Nashville Predators, or the St. Louis Blues and the Chicago Blackhawks, or the Blackhawks. This could get even worse, but the fact that these 2 teams don't see each other, it does kind of quell that down a little bit, because there's no rivalry there, but the refs did a good job of neutralizing it and not letting it get out of hand as much as they could.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. And while I have agreed, what I will agree, I won't agree that the refs have been horrendous, but they've been inconsistent. Right?
Oh, very inconsistent.
They've been inconsistent. Right?
Very inconsistent.
It didn't seem like the de-escalation was credited to the refs. I think the fact that they called that so quick, that's what Snuggie should have got, a roughing, not a cross check. I don't think. On the cross check one that he got, yeah, maybe. There were a lot of different penalties here. There were some called, some weren't. Overall, for the most part, and again, I didn't see the neighbors slashing. I had actually turned my head, so I didn't get to see it. But I did hear Joe and Curbs talking about it and calling it weak, and then talking about the thing between Stenberg and Leonard being because of it. So I get that. Chris, this is a good statement. There's a history between us and the Caps, especially with Wilson. Who was it that Wilson took out? Was it Sonny? I think it was Sonny.
It was Sundqvist in the preseason.
Yeah. Right. Uh,
There's history there. There's history there with Tom Wilson and the whole Sonny thing. But outside of that, there's not a rivalry. There's not a set rivalry between the St. Louis Blues and the Washington Capitals. That's a St. Louis Blues have an issue with Tom Wilson kind of ordeal, not the Washington Capitals. I mean,
okay,
you look at
I have an update on Thomas. This just came over the wire from the Blues about a minute ago. Jim Montgomery update on Robert Thomas. He's fine. He passed protocol. He's healthy. Right?
good. Well, and that right there, and I'm telling you that right there, that's also going to be another stipulation in why I think that player safety is going to give a slap on the wrist for this, because Robert Thomas is okay. That's exactly why I think that they're going to give a slap on the wrist.
Maybe. I again, the difference here, this is the difference, is that you cannot in any way, shape, or form consider that a hockey play. And this was just after Perron came back from the Jumbo Joe hit. Yeah. Sonny and Perron. Yeah. Sonny and Perron. Yeah. So I get it. Again, we'll see. I would be, this is a match penalty, so it's automatically going to be reviewed. There's something going to happen. A fine, a minimum of a fine is going to happen because it was a match penalty. Absolutely, the minimum of a fine is going to happen, right? I think it will be more. I do see a suspension. I could see. I'm looking at this and going, how is this anything other than 5 games? And I don't know if Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think he has a history where he's been fined before, but I don't know if he's been suspended. Does anybody know if he's been suspended? Right? Do you know if he's been suspended, Justin?
I do not know. I do know that he probably has had a bit of some run-ins, but I don't know if he's been suspended or not.
Okay, I'm going to try and look something up here real quick to see if I can pull something just to look. Let's see here. What am I looking for? I'm gonna do a quick search and see if I can come up with something with him. Let's see what I can find here. See if I come up with something. Well, yeah, here's where he got ejected. This was this was from today. This was 3 hours ago. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see anything that says what his history is. That is one thing that I wish was a little easier to find out, what someone's history as far as fines and that was. So I'm not seeing anything right now that would tell me, if he's been suspended or whatever. Right. I'm not even having his Wikipedia thing come up so I could look at that. Let's see here. I don't know, man. I do know. I do think he's been fined before. I don't know that he's been suspended. All right. Does anybody out there know? Kelsey says not in the NHL. He was suspended. He avoided a 23 suspension versus the Abs, suspended for QOL in 2016 for 2 games. Okay. So I can see. I can. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm looking at, I'm on Twitter and I'm wanting to look at this. They posted this video of this incident, and I think I'm losing some brain cells reading some of these comments. I'm not kidding. I think I'm losing brain cells
the
as we
video?
speak.
Did the Blues post it?
No, the NHL. The NHL posted Caps forward Pierre-Luc Dubois issued match penalty, intent to injure forward, and you have absolutely unintelligent, obviously don't know what they're watching, hockey fans coming into the comments section talking about, Robert Thomas interferes with this guy and then gets taken down. What a bitch.
Yeah, that.
I mean, are you kidding? Do you guys think before you post stuff? I am really seriously like you.
That's got to be.
That's what I'm saying. I can't believe it. It's not just one. It's not just one comment. It's multiple comments. This guy says, this guy, and I quote, says, imagine throwing an interference pick that got called in parentheses, which starts literally everything, and then being surprised that the guy you interfered with took you down. He didn't just take you down. He slammed you to the ice. He slammed you to the ice like he was Brock Lesnar giving you a suplex.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that's the verbiage you want to use there? And why are you normalizing people being injured? I mean, he could have been seriously injured. You look at this play. I rewatched it because I was kind of curious about going back and looking at it, seeing if I saw something different, something else. Robert Thomas could not shield himself, so when he goes to the ice, he hits the ice with full impact. He can't brace himself.
Yeah, he could not protect himself. I am not. Was it on NHL or NHL?
No, it's NHL. It should be just NHL.
At NHL, it's not at public relations.
Oh wait, yeah, no, it's NHL News. Sorry, it's cut off. Yeah, it's NHL News.
So it's not the actual NHL site.
No, it's not. But it does have. I just saw it on there. I thought it was the NHL, but it was still reported, and I still wanted to look at some of the comments because it has the video there. I don't know if the NHL put it on theirs or not. I didn't look.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Someone said maybe Robert Thomas shouldn't have been standing there. Ever think of that? Are these people stupid? Are these people? Yeah. I mean, actually, are they stupid, bro? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you hate me going for the name game and all that, but I mean, are you dumb? Do you watch the game? Do you know how hockey is played?
Robert Thomas throws a pick. I see that. I'm watching it, right? He does throw his body and he throws a pick, but there's nothing there's no reason for Dubois. That's why I say I'm trying to see, could this be considered a hockey play? And no, because even after the pick, there's a moment before Dubois grabs him and throws him to the ice. There's nothing. It's not immediate. You know, if it was immediate, maybe, but you stop and you watch this. There's a moment before he grabs him and throws him to the ice. This was not a hockey play there, and the refs call it immediately.
Oh, and absolutely. They whistle it dead. Yeah, they whistle it dead. I said they whistle it dead immediately. This next comment says, "Don't reverse hit a player with no puck in sight. Fuck Thomas. Hurt himself. PLD, nothing wrong. It was a natural reaction."
That's got to be a Caps fan. That's all. I'm betting all the negative comments are Caps fans. I'm absolutely betting that every single one of them was a Caps fan.
I don't even think it says a Caps fan. It just says non-complaint Jesus saves, and then his bio is I got no pronouns in Canadian, which I don't know. This guy's an idiot. Clearly, I have no idea, dude. Someone said minor at worst. This is extremely soft. That's a Caps fan because I see his picture. I see his profile. That's a match, question mark. Hope that plug enjoys his suspension. That was from a Blues fan, obviously. Also, dirty hit by Samuelson, I guess, on Smith in the Vegas Winnipeg game. Supposedly that was another thing earlier or in the earlier games. Someone asked, was the interference called as well? Yes, it was. Someone said, this was obviously a Caps fan, bullshit call, at worst 2 for interference and PLD 2 for roughing or holding. Thomas goes for a reverse hit and PLD goes down with Thomas in his arms. Blandina and number 18, 2 of most clown refs the
Many
NHL has.
I'm reading it.
2. All with all reactionary calls now guessing way too much.
There's no way, because they go back and look at this. So first of all, they called it a 5-minute right away, right call that gives them the right to review it. They go back and review it, and this isn't like they reviewed it a long time. They took one look at this and said, Matt, penalty. It was a quick review.
Absolutely. Here's another comparison here. It says Greer hit was 10 times worse. This will get 1 game though, but knowing Peros and him being incompetent, I'll guess Dubois gets 10 games. Why? I don't. He said no idea. It's not going to happen. He's not going to get 10 games for it, but he's not wrong. He's not wrong in questioning Peros's competence. I mean, he's not wrong in that regard.
Right.
Robert Thomas was issued a 2-minute penalty for interference on this play. Okay. Thank you, play-by-play guy. Zary hit was 100 times worse. The Zary hit was the Zary hit was bad. Thomas could not brace himself. Full ice on the ice. Zary could have broken his neck. He could have been paralyzed. They're different situations. One, or actually not. They're not different in the regards of intent to injure. But Greer.
That's the thing. I think they both are intent to injure. The next one. Read
three
the
of
next
them.
comment. Read the next comment.
All right. Capitals fan might be the worst. Oh,
nope.
Capitals fan.
The one above that.
The one that I'm seeing is Zary hit was
the one that says I didn't see intent. What do you mean you didn't see intent? He grabs him and throws him around his body. That's intent. There's no way in any way, shape, or form is throwing someone to the ice not intent to injure. No way. No way is in any way, shape, or form. Did you talk about that and I didn't?
No, I don't think I did because I know you said read the next comment, but I don't have that comment on my screen.
Okay.
It's not showing me.
I thought you had the Zary hit was 100 times worse. And then so I guess you didn't see that. Oh, well, it was only
after
before it did on yours. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't see it because the next comment was Capital fans might be the worst in the league. What are these replies?
Yeah.
Hey, someone with a brain.
Yeah.
Go figure. If this gets more games than Greer, I swear.
What did Greer get? Greer got 3, right? Or 2?
Greer got 3. He got a complete slap on the wrist. He got a phone hearing. It should not have been a phone hearing. It should have been an in-person hearing, and he got a phone hearing, and he only got 3 games. He should have got 5 if you were going to give him
because this is a match penalty, he is automatically suspended until the NHL rules on this. Mm-hmm. So he can't play until the NHL rules.
Yeah.
Right.
He said incoming 1-game suspension from Peros. Can he deliver a dirty cross check to Patrick Waugh? Question. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but
that's what the
you can't do that. What WTF?
Yeah, there's another one about that you're not seeing. It's PLD is not respected by his peers around the league. Okay, go ahead. I'm just adding if I'm getting
if you're seeing you might be refreshing or whatever. If you're refreshing, you might be getting one. This one says not a penalty at all. Thomas should have been called for interference. He was called for interference. Injury caused by awkward fall, stuck stick, nothing more.
Oh no, yeah. I'm sorry. When you see he's got his arms around his shoulders and you see him pulling them down. So yeah. Continue.
Looking more and more like 2018 when the NHL was sued for $18.9 million for the same kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dirty as F.
Yeah.
Something somebody said. What is my brother? I don't know who you're watching, but this is not Robertson. It says, "What is Robertson doing? He just put himself in a bad position. Nothing Dubois could have done. Average hockey take by our tard fans."
So that you're not watching the play. I mean,
No, you're not.
You
Well,
go
he
back
didn't even.
and
He
look.
didn't say that. He didn't even spell the guys. He didn't even put Robert Thomas. He put Robertson.
Yeah. But even you see that after the hit, after the interference, you see there's a moment before he grabs him. It's not immediate. That's why I can see this being 5. I really can.
I love it, dude. These two comments are fantastic just because I love it and I don't like the Florida Panthers. These are the next two comments, and I love that everybody is dogging on the Florida Panthers because everybody's coming to the realization that they are just one of the dirtiest teams in the league. This one says, "How could Sam Bennett do this?" Which Sam Bennett would definitely do that. And then it says, "Effing Panthers do it again." Wow. So I just find that funny because I love people that are just kind of dogging on the Panthers. But I
did a refresh. I got to read there's 2 comments here I got to read. K-Mac, who I know who that is, retaliated, wrapped him up, took his leg out and threw him down on his face. Good call. Another one is I think he forgot Monday Night Raw was last night.
Yeah.
So, so again, I do think that this is going to get. I know that for the most part, player safety has let us down, but I have a hard time seeing this not being 5 games because of what it is, and there's more to this. Every other play that I've seen could be easily seen as possible hockey plays. In the devil advocate side, this can't be, and I think that's the difference.
And I want for all the people. Obviously, we don't have any Caps fans here. At least I don't think. But for anyone who is listening right now, the people that are out there saying, "Oh, well, Robert Thomas throws an interference pick," he does, and I give him that. You can give him the interference call. That's fine and dandy. But my rebuttal to anyone who wants to sit there and say Robert Thomas put himself in this situation, Robert Thomas is to blame for hurting himself. People say that it's a reactionary play by Dubois. If this is a reactionary play, Robert Thomas does not end this play on his face. Okay?
Yeah.
This is a reverse hit. If this was an awkward fall by Robert Thomas, he would have fell backwards and he would have fell on top of Dubois.
Yeah.
Dubois grabs him by the arm and swings him down to the ice. That is your clear-cut indication that this was intent to injure, and this was not just a fall, as you want to put it. It was a slam. It was not a fall, an awkward fall, as people are saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. I agree, and I've seen it from a lot of different opinions.
Overall, though,
you can't open the door as an excuse for retaliation either. I think that they handled it. I think that there was no reaction for 2 reasons. One, the way Thomas was laying on the ice, and 2, the way the refs immediately came in. Right? Immediately came in.
Yeah, I mean they blew this whistle almost immediately. I've credit to them because I've never seen, like, in a long time. I know it's happened, but in a long time I have not seen the officials call a whistle so quick after realizing a player went down.
Yeah.
So it was very well handled by them. I thought they did an admirable job. Yes, there was missed calls. We talk about it all the time. There's going to be missed calls. But I thought for the most part of how scrappy this game was between two non-rivalry teams, the refs did a admirable job keeping this under wraps,
Yeah.
the best that they could.
So-
This was overall a good game. 3-0 win. I mean, I didn't have, for most people, I know people are still on the tank bandwagon, of course. I am not. You're not. But I figured that the Blues were going to be good for a win against the Capitals. If you go back to the first game that they played against the Capitals, it was one of their worst performances all year in Washington. So you expected them to come out and play better. And in my personal opinion, I wasn't worried at all in this game, even at puck drop. I thought the Blues were going to win this game pretty securely, and they won. So I'm not surprised, but it was a good team game.
Jason Nichols says the fact that they blew it so fast may have an effect on the determination of the league, and it may, but again, player safety has in the past shown us that, hey, you want to talk about inconsistent? There's player safety. Player safety's been absolutely inconsistent.
Well, you look at the layers to this, and I'm with Guy on this one. That I could see. I think you should get at least five, for the play, and I'm hopeful for that. But there's different layers to this that makes me a little bit more undoubtful. And I know you said, okay, this is not a hockey play. The other two could maybe be considered that, but still the other two were very, very bad, and they were definitely extremely intent to injure, and those guys got slapped on the wrist. The other layer is Robert Thomas. He did lay down on the ice, but he is fine as reported. So he is healthy. He is fine. That's going to play a layer into this, whether any Blues fan wants to admit it or not. It's going to play.
It will. I agree.
It's going to play a factor in this decision. I'm with you. I don't see how you don't get a suspension. I would be shocked. Now, the ultimate FU to the fans would be if you gave Luc Dubois a fine. That would be an absolute slap in the face. If that's going to be, I don't think that's going to be the decision, because I don't see how you look at this and think it's not going to be at least suspendable for a couple games. But imagine if George Peros and Department of Player Safety just give the big FU to the fans and just give Luc Dubois a fine. You know how much of a slap in the face?
It can't be a fine. It's an automatic suspension.
Okay,
right?
So
it's an automatic suspension. It's at least one game.
Okay, well, then let me rephrase. Imagine how much of a slap in the face it would be if they only give him one game.
Yeah. Well, here it is. I'm going to show it. Give me a moment. I'm going to show it. This is the Blues feed that is showing this. Oh, I got the volume turned on.
He gets interfered with. He wraps around, but then he throws Robert down. And again, Curbs, Robert, he just couldn't brace himself. It looked like his arms got tied up. Here's a perfect look right here.
Right there. You go back, and this is what I was kind of talking about. You can see that after the hit, right? I'm gonna bring it forward. Look, here's the hit, right here. He comes in. As soon as he hits, look at this. Dubois already wrapping him up, right? There's no way this is anything other. And then he slow foots him. Right, I'm trying to show this a little bit frame by frame. He slew foots him. Right, he's got, and again, the biggest thing here is the wrapping of the arm, preventing Thomas from putting his arm like in front of his face and falling on his arm to protect himself.
So Robert can't brace himself with the right arm, and it was his right cheek. His right cheek's gonna smack the ice. right
I'm
there.
sorry.
Oh.
There's nothing that was called for, right? He backs into you, yes. Okay, interference, but it's not like he put his elbow in your face or he did anything other than stop you from being in a play.
It's not a well. Again, it goes back to what I just talked about. The way that you can obviously tell that this was intent to injure and it was a slam on the ice instead of an awkward fall is the fact that you're on skates. I get it. It's a hard thing to do, play on skates and everything like that. But these players have been doing it for so long that don't underestimate the fact that these guys are big bodies. They don't move easy. Even though they get hit on skates, they're still capable of staying on their skates. When Robert Thomas makes a reverse hit on Pierre-Luc Dubois, yes, it's an interference pick. But first of all, PLD, I don't know his measurements and what his size is. PLD is not a small guy. So as far as I know, he didn't look like a small guy. So I don't know his measurements and how tall he is and how big he is. He's not a small guy. Most of these players who get reverse hit are, able to stay on their skates, and they kind of act as like a wall. So like you reverse hit somebody, you're going to move them a bit, but you're not going to move them completely because, they're big bodies.
6'4", 220 is what he's listed as.
Okay, so he's a big boy. I think he's bigger than Robert Thomas.
Robert
He
Thomas
is big.
is 6 at 207, so he's 4 inches taller and about 13 pounds heavier. And that's just what he's listed at. He could be heavier.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and again, I know that is kind of crazy to say, but when Robert Thomas throws this hit, if it's an awkward fall, I can understand if it's like from like a different kind of angle. But if he pretty much gets in front of him, he's pretty much chest first, so he hits his chest. Mm-hmm. Pierre-Luc Dubois is not going to fall. And it's so evident that he doesn't fall. He doesn't fall back. It's not like he loses his footing. Mm-hmm. He hits him, and if it was just an okay play and he just reacted, they would have just fell and he would have maybe grabbed his arm and they would have just fell down and Robert Thomas would have landed on him. He didn't land on him. He took his arm and swung him around and then planted him on his face. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cut and dry. I think me and you pretty much covered this to death. I'm with you. I don't see how it's not 5 games, but again, I look at this and I want to say 5 games, but at the end of the day, I feel like that's kind of not fair to Connor Zary, who could have got his neck broken and he only got 3 games. So I feel like either way, there's a lose-lose situation here because I'm not calling one worse than the other because they're both bad. But like I said, Connor Zary could have ended his career in the NHL as we know it. So, getting 3 games, and then if you give this one, 4 or 5 games, I mean, I'm going to be like, well, you gave that one 4 or 5, but you gave Connor Zary's 3. So,
well, here's the biggest difference in the other hits. I don't think the other hits were match penalties. This one is a match penalty.
Yeah, the other ones weren't match. Yeah.
So hey, Iguido, Ryan Green, Jason Nichols, Penny Chrome, and Teresa Singer Mama, thank you for putting your thumbs in the air, showing us that you care. Kelsey's asking, where does the 5-game figure come? The fact that it was a match penalty, right? A match penalty is an automatic suspension. Automatic suspension until the league looks at it. So it's actually 1 game no matter what, right? It's almost automatically 1 game.
Well, and it's a match penalty, so yes, it is. It's automatically a suspension. But even if it wasn't a match penalty, the penalty that was called was intent to injure, right? So, whether or not it was a match penalty, it still would have needed to be looked at. At least in my opinion. Obviously, it wouldn't guarantee a suspension if that was the case. But intent to injure, if you get an intent to injure penalty in a hockey game, it should always be looked at, always. And I think it is. So I get what you're saying about the match penalty. That's why he's definitely going to get at least a game. But it's going to be interesting to see where they actually place it.
Yeah. Chris Shockey says, so Snoogie became a tier 1 guy. I think he plays in the next Olympics. I don't think he's a tier 1 yet, but I think he's definitely moved into tier 2. I don't think he's a tier 1 yet, but he's definitely moved into tier 2. And next season, he could be a tier 1 player. He really could, right? He really could, yes. A match penalty is automatically looked at by the league, and they called a match penalty on this. They did not just call a 5-minute major. They called a match. So that's the difference here. Than all these other penalties, they called a match, and that's where I think it is.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we've covered this to death. I think we're all kind of in agreement on what we see for this hit, why it's bad, why it's not a good look for PLD. I mean, and at the end of the day, this was just unnecessary. I go back to the fact of the positioning, the point in the season where I talked about this on the Zeri hit, and I know I keep going back to this, that hit was so unnecessary in the Calgary and Florida game because no team, or both of those teams, are nowhere near the playoffs. Nowhere near the playoffs, and they're not going to make the playoffs. They don't have any inkling in it, and I get it. I don't want to make it sound like it's meaningless because of that, but it kind of is, because you shouldn't be willing to injure somebody like that when both teams are not in the playoffs. I mean, why are you that competitive? Why are you that petty that you have to do something like that? I don't know where the Capitals are in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they're in a playoff spot or if they're just on the outside looking in.
Or close to it.
I know the East is it's a dog battle right there in the East. So I don't know if they're actually in one, but I want to say no. I want to say that they're actually on the outside looking in, or close. They're close. But
they are 6 points out.
Okay, so they're on. So again, I guess it can kind of ring true for even just us.
Yeah.
Why did you feel this necessary? The St. Louis Blues are not in a playoff spot. Yes, they're battling and trying to battle back into one. I think it's going to be highly unlikely, but they're still battling back. They're still trying to play the best hockey that they can until the end of the season. Why are you finding it necessary to take a team that's not in the playoffs and try to injure their top guy? Why? Yeah. It's pointless.
The Predators are 8 points ahead of us, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams ahead of us. So the chances of us getting in the playoffs are slim to none.
And I want to say this because the Seattle Kraken slipping, the San Jose Sharks slipping. That inexperience is catching up with San Jose. LA and Nashville are kind of running away with it right now. Again, it's cool to have those guys in it. It's cool to have different things in there. For me, I'm like I said, I'm still not an LA guy. Like if I'm to want one team in the playoffs and it can't be the Blues and it has to be Nashville or LA. Sorry, I mean, just give me. I love Anze Kopitar. He's about the one thing that saves it for me in LA. But just give me Nashville, man, because I don't see any of those teams. I don't see Nashville or LA beating Colorado or Dallas. So I just at this point I don't really care who makes it because it's not going to matter in the end. They're both going to be gone in the first round. Yeah. But It's going to be a miracle. The Predators kind of came out of nowhere. They kind of they were,
because somebody talked about them at the beginning of the season being better than what everybody thought they were.
Yeah, but everybody thought that they were going to everybody thought that they were going to be better than what they did last year. I mean, what they did last year was historically bad for that franchise. So they were obviously going to be better with the talent that they have, but no, you said that they were going to be better, but still, I think everybody had Nashville on the outside looking in.
I had them at. I did. I had them at 6th or 5th. I think I might have had them at 6th.
So, again, for me, I'm in the same boat as a team like Pittsburgh and Boston. I'm the same way that I feel about Nashville. Nashville making the playoffs. It's good for their city. It's good for the team. It's good for the organization that they're in it. But at the end of the day, I feel the same way about those three teams and the fact that it doesn't really benefit them to make the playoffs because each three of those teams, their futures are not ideally, fantastic. And, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the oldest team in the NHL. Yes, they're getting younger. They're trying to get younger. They got Ben Kendall over there. He should be good. They got some prospects, but it's going to take a couple years. The Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be very, very bad when Sidney Crosby and Malkin are done. The Penguins are going to take a couple years to get good again. Pasternak for the Boston Bruins. Boston, I'm sorry, I don't think it's beneficial for Boston to be anywhere near the playoffs because I don't think that their future is bright at all. They sold off most of their pieces.
Yeah.
They had Marchand. Marchand's a big one. They still have the two big pieces over there, McAvoy and Pasternak and Swayman. So those three are great, but those are just three guys. They need a better supporting cast than Boston. They're playing good this year. And then again, long-winded, Nashville, they're aging. They're getting older. Nashville doesn't really have much of a future either, as for their future prospect pipeline.
I will agree with that.
Kind of a long-winded answer there.
I want to address Kelsey's comment here because she's trying to understand why we're talking 5 games, a 5-game precedent rather than 3. Kelsey, so I'll go back to this, and I don't know how long you've been watching the Blues, but you go back to the playoffs. I think it was during COVID, the COVID playoffs, when Kadri took out, I think it was Perron or Falk. I think it was Falk. Kadri took out Falk, and that ended up being a match penalty. And I think that got 5 games attached to, or 10 games attached to it. It was a heavy number, but at the same time, Kadri was a repeat offender. 5 games for a match penalty, especially if there's intent to injure, it's kind of a standard. That's where that kind of comes from. It's usually when there's an injury or a penalty that doesn't take a match, that it's less than 5 games. It can be, now if it is an in-person hearing, it can go up to 25 games or more, right? It all depends. I know somebody's gotten 20 games. I want to say Wilson's gotten a 20-game penalty, 20-game suspension in the past or something heavy like that, but I don't completely remember. And Kelsey, none of your questions are ever idiot questions. Your questions are actually really, really good ones, and they help us explain what we're talking about because we're doing this on a almost nightly basis sometimes. So we have an understanding, and we don't think about sometimes what we're talking about. We need to break it down. So your question is never an idiot question there. It was Stone that took out Falk. Was it Stone?
No, Kadri took out Falk the 1 year, and then the year right after he took out Bennington.
Yeah. So I do think it was him. Stone did have a hit on Falk too, but I think Kadri is the one that took him out during the playoffs. I'm checking someone to make their day better. It's the cheapness of it. Fighting, you still not trying to completely injure a guy, hurt you, but you not take them out for games. Yeah. Stone, Wilson, Kadri. Yeah, I guess Jason's talking about a couple of different things there. So yeah, otherwise, overall, good game by the Blues. Hold on, let me check something out here real quick. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We're a little over an hour, so we'll wrap this up. Good pregame, postgame show. Again, sorry we didn't do the game today. My teeth should be able to do Thursday's game against the Sharks. Should be a good one. And then we have who is it we've got coming in on Saturday? Another good one.
Maple Leafs, right?
Maple Leafs, right? Yeah. Berube returning on Saturday. So I guess I have but one question to ask you, Justin.
Well,
How
no,
do we
I
end-
want to.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, overall good game. Hofer playing good. I'm still not on the tank bandwagon for all the tankers out there. Still not there. Still want them to play well. Still want them to compete until the end of the season, no matter what draft pick they get. So, is that our next game? Is it against the Maple Leafs? Really?
No, it's against the Sharks on Thursday.
Okay. I was going to
Maple
say,
Leafs
I mean,
on
if I'm going
Saturday.
to have to wait, I was going to say, if I have to wait from now to Saturday for another Blues game, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
Bring on the Sharks. The Sharks are struggling. They're skidding. With the way that they've been playing, they're not going to make the playoffs. I know a lot of people were pushing for them, but they have struggled to win games here recently. So the Blues can take advantage of it. They can take advantage of the Maple Leafs, who are obviously banged up without Austin Matthews. And I mean, let's be honest, they have no culture over there in Toronto. So the Blues can take advantage of it. So.
Right. Okay, so I have but one question to ask there, Mr. Dustin. How do we end our show?
Where are the girls? Where are they at?
What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo. And I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
So I guess that's time of the day. Are you ready for the question? I'm asking each and every one of you out there. Are you ready for the question? Justin, are you ready for the question? You're muted.
I'm ready for the question. What's the question?
Who's late for dinner?
Where are the boys? Where are they at?
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. For my co-host, Justin Eagle Eye Scott, we are the BlueNote Fan Report, and we're here to tell you how we see it and hear your questions, comments, and opinions, and let them all be heard. This is Guy and Justin saying aloha mahalo, and we'll catch you all on the next BlueNote Fan Report, while you remember that I am bleeding blue with you.
And as always, let's go Blues.
Aloha.